So, about a week ago, Warner Brothers announced that they were going to be releasing their entire 2021 movie release slate simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max. This was huge news. Everybody was stunned. No studio in the history of filmmaking has ever done this. Okay? Simultaneously release a brand new film both in theaters and on home media. Personally, I wasn't that impressed. I wasn't that excited. There's only maybe 2 movies that I've been willing to shell out the $15 to watch them on HBO Max. I'd be happy to wait for them to come out on DVD and then rent them as part of my DVD Netflix mail-in service. But everybody was stunned. Everybody was impressed. One particular group that I'm pretty sure was not impressed by this news was Disney, who immediately got on the phone, called up Kevin Feige, and said, "You're on at 7." Because last night, Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios, together with Kevin Feige, released a video to social media where Kevin Feige revealed so many things about the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe phases 4 and 5 that it completely shifted the attention away from whatever desperation maneuver Warner Brothers and HBO Max is up to. It's nuts, the power of Disney and what they're able to do with the resources that they have. They also announced a bunch of new Star Wars projects, but it seems like all the attention is on the Marvel stuff, and immediately I was bombarded with dozens upon dozens of requests to share my thoughts on what was announced last night. Now, before I get to what Feige made official in the video, there are 2 other announcements that came earlier this month that people have been asking me about, and they are Marvel related, so I'll go ahead and cover them right now. The first one being that officially Disney and Marvel Studios will be moving forward, along with Ryan Reynolds, to produce Deadpool 3. Of course this is awesome. I think we all want another Deadpool movie. Personally, if they ended it right here with part 3, I would be very, very happy. I think, movies work best in trilogies. However, and I've said this many times before, if they made a bunch more, if they made 3 or 5 more Deadpool movies, I would also be okay with that for several reasons, but the main one being that Deadpool is one of those characters that you can just put him in any setting and it works. You could put him in space, you could have him travel through time, you could put him in a sea lab underwater, you can put him in another dimension and the character would still work, no matter the setting. So I would be 100% okay with them continuing on with more movies in the future. However, if they ended it with part 3, as far as the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool franchise ending in 3, I'm 100% cool with that. And the other big announcement this week, the MCU Spider-Man 3 movie, or as it is rumored to be called, Spider-Man Homeworlds. Now, this is what we know for sure about the movie, and then I get into the rumors. What we know for sure is that it will be, for now, it will be the last collaboration between Sony and Marvel Studios. Potentially being the last Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, but who knows, it will probably make over $1 billion and make both studios big money, and they'll probably sit at the table and renegotiate. But for now, it's due to be the last one, so we know that for a fact. We also know that Doctor Strange is due to be in it, as their contract with Marvel Studios says. Each of their Spider-Man movies, they require 1 character from the MCU to be in it. Iron Man was in the first one, Nick Fury was in the second one, Doctor Strange is going to be in the third one. We knew that. We also know, and Feige also confirmed in the video last night, that WandaVision, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, aka Doctor Strange 2, and that third Spider-Man movie will all be connected. The storyline will flow from from the show to those 2 movies. In that storyline, of course, being that whatever the hell Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, does in WandaVision, it will open up the Marvel Cinematic Universe to the multiverse, to the Marvel multiverse. And it will affect those three movies. Those three chapters of the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be an impromptu trilogy. And because of this, because they will be exploring other dimensions and alternate versions of characters, people already theorizing as to who's going to show up in Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man Homeworlds, and there's rumors flying all over the place as to who's going to be in it other than Doctor Strange. There are rumors going around that, and I call them rumors because we haven't gotten this information from either Kevin Feige or Amy Pascal. Those are the two people that are in charge of the MCU Sony Spider-Man movies. Unless it comes out of their mouths, it's not official. And I don't mean to disrespect any credible news sources that you guys sent me. I'm not trying to diss them. They're great. But they're not in charge of Spider-Man. So until one of those two individuals say that this is official, it's not official. It's just a rumor. But so rumors are flying left and right. Some say that Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro. Some say that Alfred Molina is coming back as Dr. Octopus. Kirsten Dunst is coming back as Mary Jane. That the Sinister Six is going to be in it. That Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are coming back as their respective versions of Spider-Man. But in spite of all those huge rumors, in spite of all the huge implications about this movie, the one that started to trend like crazy on social media and everybody was talking about was that not only did the rights to Daredevil revert from Netflix back to Marvel Studios, that not only is, and whatever Marvel ends up doing with the character, they're going to continue to use Charlie Cox as the actor who plays Daredevil, aka Matt Murdock, but that he's going to be in Spider-Man 3, aka Homeworlds, which I think is awesome. Again, this is probably a rumor, we don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it seems to be the one rumor over all those things, over all three Spider-Mans being in the same movie, over the Sinister Six, over all that stuff, that really got the most traction, that really got more people excited. Because, we've been waiting a long, long time for Daredevil and the Netflix characters to join the higher Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, yeah, that's the one that I'm the most attached to, even though all those other things that I mentioned, I would love to see them in the movie. But if I could offer up a theory as to what could potentially Matt Murdock be doing in this movie, well, Peter Parker is facing criminal murder charges. He is being accused of killing Quentin Beck. He's going to need a lawyer, and who better than Matt Murdock? Again, we don't know what's what just yet. Let's wait. But for now, what we know for sure, over all the things that I just mentioned, is that Spider-Man 3, aka Spider-Man Homeworld, it's going to be huge. All right. Let's get into what's official, what's definitely going to happen in these movies, what Kevin Feige talked about last night, what he announced. He went over everything that's going to be happening, that's going to be released throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phases 4 and 5. No word on Avengers movies yet, but I think they're going to, let that franchise cool off for a bit before they bring it back, and I respect that. But he went over everything, so for that reason I will not be retreading over old announcements, because he touched upon all the movies and shows that were supposed to be released this year but didn't. This was the year without MCU, so all this information was just wonderful to have. So if it was announced at Comic-Con this past year, or D23, I will not be talking about it again in this video unless a new announcement was made about it, okay? Alright, let's start with Thor Love and Thunder. It's been confirmed that not only is Christian Bale playing the villain in the movie, but he's specifically playing Gore, the God Butcher. I think the most interesting part of that announcement is that Christian Bale is playing one of the few villains in the Marvel Universe that can kill Thor. Moving on to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Of course, as most of you know, Doctor Strange is my favorite character in the MCU. I would have been happy with just one Doctor Strange movie, but the fact that they're moving forward with a second movie and potentially a trilogy is beyond exciting. I was 100% on board with this even before it was announced. Then, sadly, it turned out that Doctor Strange director, Scott Derrickson, dropped out of the project due to creative differences, which was heartbreaking. I really wanted this to be a trilogy that was consistent, and then it was announced that Sam Raimi was taking over as director for this movie, which is amazing. He's one of my all-time favorite directors, as most of you know. A lot of you keep asking me, A, if I want Bruce Campbell to do a cameo in it, and what character I want him to play. So to answer those questions, number one, no, I don't want Bruce Campbell to do a cameo in it. I want him to have a significant role in this franchise, not just another dumb cameo like he does in all his other all of Sam Raimi's other movies, which are funny, and it's a cute little, oh, there he is moment, but Bruce Campbell's not Stan Lee. He is an actor. Stan Lee was just the creator of a lot of these characters and stories. Bruce Campbell is a performer. He's an actor. Give him a character. As far as what character I would want him to play, overall, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, my number one choice of character for Bruce Campbell to play would be Corsair, the leader of the Starjammers, the biological father of Cyclops from the X-Men, and I feel that he would fit in perfectly in the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. But other than that, just any character whatsoever that would be relevant to the story could potentially go on to appear in other movies. Alright, so now that I answered that, what is a new big announcement connected to this movie? The fact that they're officially adding a Hispanic superhero to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's none other than America Chavez, being played by newcomer Xochitl Gomez. I apologize if I butchered her name. Congratulations, Miss Gomez. I look forward to seeing you as America Chavez and to finally cheer on a Hispanic superhero in this franchise that I love so much. Moving on to Ant-Man 3, aka Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So, I've told this story so many times, I remind you every time I mention this, but it's just one of those things that is so incredible that I have to remind myself that it's real. When I was a kid, I hated Ant-Man. He was the one superhero that I didn't give a crap about. And this franchise has made me love the character. Specifically, I'm still not a fan of the character in the comics, but specifically the Paul Rudd version of Ant-Man. Freaking love him so much, I got his action figure. I mean, I never thought in a million years I would have his action figure. I love the first two movies. Like everybody else, I expected there to be a third one. Then rumors started to bubble up that maybe there wasn't going to be an Ant-Man 3 or Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, whatever you want to call it. And I legitimately got mad. Me, the guy who doesn't give a crap about Ant-Man, really wanted this third movie. I felt that the franchise deserved it. I felt that the actors deserved it. I felt that Peyton Reed had done such an incredible job as a director that was brought in late into the franchise that he deserved his third movie. And so when I heard these rumors, for those of you who didn't see this on social media, I started to use this prank that Paul Rudd likes to use. So he goes on talk shows plugging a movie. He will cue up a clip from the movie to show the host and show the audience watching. And when they go to the clip, he just shows a clip from crappy old 80s alien comedy family movie, Mac and Me. So what I did, I started sending Marvel Studios and Disney GIFs and pictures from Mac and Me every single day, with the promise that I would stop if they would greenlight Ant-Man 3. And a lot of you started doing it too. Again, it was for shits and giggles. We didn't think it was going to take. I didn't think in a million years they were going to greenlight Ant-Man 3. But apparently I wasn't the only one out there in the world protesting that really wanted this movie. Lots of fans came together and wrote them messages and made their requests, and some people made really cool, like elaborate, creative videos requesting Ant-Man 3. At one point, somebody suggested, I think on Facebook, everybody send whatever they want the title to Ant-Man 3 to be, and my number one pick for the title was Ant-Man Wasp and Stature 2 Electric Shrinkadoo. Personally, I still think that's better than Quantumania, but I mean, this franchise has moved forward thanks to the really cool and original concept of the quantum realm, so I respect that choice. A lot of you have wondered if, because of this title, whether or not Scott Bakula will do a cameo. Well, if he doesn't, that'll be a complete waste. She-Hulk. Not only did Feige confirm that Orphan Black's Tatiana Maslany is playing Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, but Mark Ruffalo will most definitely return as Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk, and Tim Roth is finally returning as Emil Blonsky, aka The Abomination. And to quote Hope Van Dyne, it's about damn time. There's also gonna be a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special done to the style of the Star Wars holiday special, which will be released the Christmas holiday right before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is released. I have no idea what this is gonna be like, but if James Gunn is involved, it's gonna be worth seeing. It has officially been confirmed that the lovely and talented Haley Steinfeld will be playing Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series that will be released on Disney+. Perfect casting, nuff said. Another Disney Plus series coming our way, Ironheart, with newcomer Dominic Thorne as Riri Williams. For the time being, as I am recording this, this is the one announcement that I'm not super excited about, because I'm just not a big fan of this character. So far, I'm really been enjoying all these next generation characters of Marvel Comics, characters like Kamala Khan, the new Miss Marvel, Amadeus Cho, the new Hulk, Miles Morales, the current Spider-Man, or the other Spider-Man, because in some versions Peter Parker also exists. This is the only one that I'm not too crazy about, where I don't really get a sense of who she is, or if she's even worthy of being the current Iron person. But, again, I cannot emphasize this enough. This is the franchise that made me a fan of Ant-Man, so hopefully they will work their magic on Riri Williams. Secret Invasion. So a few months ago, earlier this year, we desperately wanted Marvel content, and they let it slip that they were in talks to do a Nick Fury Disney Plus series, which sounds fine. That sounds great. I love Samuel L. Jackson, but I wasn't excited about it. Interested, was definitely going to check it out. Love the character, love Samuel L. Jackson, but I wasn't like super excited. Then last night, Feige drops the bomb. It's not just Nick Fury, it's Secret Invasion, one of the biggest comic book events of this current generation. For those of you who are not familiar with it, basically we get infiltrated by Skrull, which is what everybody thought was going to happen in Captain Marvel, what was going to play a major role in the Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, but it didn't. That whole storyline with the Skrull that was self-contained in Captain Marvel. So a lot of people were left feeling kind of unfulfilled by that they introduced the Skrull, but they didn't even reference one of the biggest storylines connected to those characters. And boom, they're going all in. It's going to be a Disney Plus series. They're going to touch upon all the major moments from that series. Not only is Samuel L. Jackson, of course, coming back as Nick Fury, as the main star of the show, he's finally getting his own little franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Tom Mendelsohn is coming back as Talos from Captain Marvel, so that's also very exciting. I think those two have magnificent chemistry, so it's good to have him back as well. What a great actor. What I'm wondering is, how are they going to do their version of discovering that there are Skrull have infiltrated all the major entities in the Marvel Universe, all the major groups. Because the way they discovered it in the comics is that the New Avengers trapped Elektra, and Elektra changed into a Skrull while she was laid out in front of them. And in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, the way they discovered it was exactly the same way, but it was Viper. So I'm wondering who's going to be the character that they're going to knock out, and the major Marvel character they're going to knock out, and she or he is going to transform into a Skrull right in front of their eyes, and they're going to go, oh crap, they have infiltrated us. So yeah, everybody, throw their money in, place your bets, I should say. If I had to venture a guess, I am going to guess for no reason. I just would love to see her be a part of something other than the show she was in. I'm going to say Agent Melinda May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., played by Ming-Na Wen. I would just love to see her in something other than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It has been confirmed that not only will newcomer Iman Vellani will play Miss Marvel Kamala Khan in her own series on Disney+, but she will most definitely come back as the character in Captain Marvel 2. First of all, Iman, congratulations. You are the future of this franchise. You are the first Pakistani superhero in any major franchise. Well, to lead her own franchise, because we also have Muslim superheroes in Legends of Tomorrow in the form of Zari and her brother ERod. So that's awesome in itself. We already theorized that she was going to be coming back in Captain Marvel, but now it's 100% official. So congratulations, and I don't know what I'm looking forward to the most, her solo series or finally seeing her interact with Carol Danvers. So if all these secondary characters are getting their own shows, how about the one guy who has been with this franchise almost as long as Robert Downey Jr., Don Cheadle, aka Jim Rhodes' War Machine. He's coming back in his own Disney Plus series, Armor Wars. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with that title, it is one of the biggest storylines in Iron Man comics. Basically, Justin Hammer, and hopefully he will be back as well. I would love to see Sam Rockwell reprise that role. He was fantastic. It was one of the best parts in Iron Man 2. One of the best parts of Iron Man 2, excuse me. He steals Tony Stark's technology like he always wanted, and he starts creating his own armor like he intended, and he starts basically selling this technology to the highest bidder, namely villains. So in the comic, Iron Man goes flying around the world, sometimes breaking international law, in order to get his technology back. In this version, of course, it's going to be War Machine who's going to be doing that. Congratulations, Don Cheadle. Very few people deserve this more than you. I feel like Kevin Feige's like Oprah, and he's just going around saying, you get a show, and you get a show, and you get a show. I jokingly said that in this phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all the sidekicks were getting their own thing, and that little joke couldn't be more true now that this announcement has been made. And in a sadder note, earlier this year, we received the tragic news that Chadwick Boseman passed away. It hit us, I think it hit us, all of us fans, hard. And one of the questions became whether or not they would find another actor to replace him as T'Challa in the Black Panther movies. Thankfully, last night, Feige confirmed that that will not be the case. They will not be replacing him with another actor. And I deeply appreciate them making that move. Yes, I absolutely would have loved to have seen T'Challa's story continue. I would have loved to have seen Chadwick do at least 2 more movies as Black Panther, and possibly one last big crossover event like Infinity War and Endgame. But that's life. Sometimes terrible things happen, and how we react to them, how we behave during these terrible happenings, it's the way we are defined. It's how we are defined. So thankfully they will not be finding another actor and just pointing at this completely different person and saying that that's T'Challa. As any comic book fan worth a salt knows, the Black Panther is not a man. It's a title that gets passed from person to person. So the question has become, who's going to be the next Black Panther? Of course, in the comics, the next person to take on the role would be Shuri, T'Challa's sister, played by Letitia Wright. If they decide to go with that storyline, if they decide to make her the next Black Panther, I just want to let you guys know that I'm 100% okay with that, and I wish her all the luck in the world with taking on this amazing franchise and placing it on her very capable shoulders. And last but not least, the announcement that made me scream like a little girl meeting a Hemsworth. They will most definitely be making an MCU Fantastic Four movie. I've said this many times on videos and on social media. I'll try my best not to retread, but here's the short version. I want there to be one good Fantastic Four movie before I die, okay? Fantastic Four is one of my all-time favorite comic books. The Thing is my all-time favorite Marvel character. And the fact that there just hasn't been just one single decent Fantastic Four movie breaks my heart. So, like a lot of you who have seen characters that you love, characters like Spider-Man and Punisher and Daredevil, who already had movies, be taken and been rebooted perfectly, just as they are supposed to be in the comics. Not that their previous incarnations were bad, but dead on. The way they're supposed to be, the way you love them, the way they were introduced to you in the comics. Just like all of you who have had your favorite characters given the MCU treatment, I want to see my favorite character and his family be given the MCU treatment. And to see one of my all-time favorite comic book characters overall finally join this kick-ass franchise, to be able to say that I will one day have an MCU Thing figure, Benjamin J. Grimm Thing figure, to put on the shelf next to all these awesome characters, makes me beyond happy. And after the terrible year that we've had, this was the perfect piece of news to make me feel like there's hope in the future. As silly as that might sound. Thank you so much for watching and humoring my silly opinions and thoughts on these announcements. Feel free to voice your opinion in the comment section below. As per usual, I beg you, please be civil to one another and respect each other's opinion. We're all on the same team. There's no need to fight. Thank you so much for your ongoing support, guys. I always say it because it's true. I could not do what I do without you. And Chadwick, I know you're listening from above. Earth might have lost an Avenger, but heaven gained a king. Rest in power.